ये ऊपर रखा
नहीं निकलना
हाँ देखिए
नहीं चाहिए भाग किसी
ये है ना जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जो हम विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रचार्य अष्टोधर स्थिति डिवाइन गिरी श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरों चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So today we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 2. Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, text 22. Sita Govinda Saksha Chaitanya Gosai Jivanistarite Aiche Dayalu Aranai. Sita Govinda Saksha Chaitanya Gosai Jivanistarite Aiche Dayalu Aranai. Sita Govinda Saksha Chaitanya Gosai Jivanistarite Aiche Dayalu Aranai.
Govinda Saksha Chaitanya Gosai Jiva Nistarite Ache Dayalu Aranai.
Matajis. Sita, that Govinda, Sakshat, personally, Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, Gosani, Jiva, the fallen living entities, Nistarite, to deliver, Aiche, such, Dayalu, a merciful Lord, Ara, another, Nahi, there is not. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: that Govinda personally appeared at Chaitanya Gosai. No other Lord is as merciful in delivering the fallen souls. Purport: having described Govinda in terms of his Brahman and Paramatma features, now the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita advances his argument to prove that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the identical personality. The same Lord Sri Krishna, in the garb of a devotee of Sri Krishna, descended to this mortal world to reclaim the fallen human beings who had misunderstood the personality of Godhead even after explanation of Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna directly instructed that the Supreme is a person, that impersonal Brahman is his glowing effulgence, and the Paramatma is his partial representation. All men were therefore advised to follow the path of Sri Krishna, leaving aside all mundane isms. Offenders misunderstood this instruction, however, because of their poor fund of knowledge. Thus, by his causeless, unlimited mercy, Sri Krishna came again as Sri Chaitanya Gosai. The author of Chaitanya Charitamrita most emphatically stresses that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Sri Krishna himself. He is not an expansion of Prakash or Vilas forms of Sri Krishna. He is Swayam Rupa Govinda. Apart from the relevant scriptural evidences forwarded by Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, there are innumerable other scriptural statements regarding Lord Chaitanya being the Supreme Lord himself. The following examples may be cited. And these are all like many citations from the scriptures. So we'll read up to this much only. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpataru Brasha Kripa Sindhu Prevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So for Gaudiya Vaishnava devotees, the 2 days are most important. One is the appearance of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and another is appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Especially the purport here, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is mentioning it very clearly that Krishna comes in the role of a devotee as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is not, his expansions, he is not the Prakash or Vilas forms of Lord Krishna. Rather, Krishna himself comes as the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is to be understood by the mercy of Acharyas. As most of us know, Lord Krishna, Lord Ramchandra in India, and then Lord Narsimha and others. But very few people understand the real tattva behind Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, that time situation was also a bit hazy, in the sense the people were not so much following the path of bhakti. Most of them, they were following so-called traditions, so-called dharma, which was contaminated by so many concoctions. So what happened that time, if you see, in 1486 when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, what was the condition of India, especially Bengal at that time. Even though Navadip was considered as the seat of learning, that's where the people from all over India would go to learn the scriptures. In Chaitanya Bhagavat and in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, there is a lot of description about the society existing at that time. And as Lord Chaitanya was about to descend on this earthly planet, first all his associates, they appear at different locations so that they can assist Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Lord, in his pastimes. But that time society was thinking that this area is considered as auspicious area, good places. These are inauspicious areas. These are the dynasties which are not so good. These are the kulas that are better to appear. So in Chaitanya Bhagavat that there is a description which says that Socha deshe socha kule apana saman jalmaya vaishnave sabare karitran. That means Lord has his devotees who are equal to him appear at impious places and impious families in order to deliver everyone. So it's not like that the associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared at very auspicious places and in a very high family lineage, so that they can challenge all this so-called thinking that time the society was having. So usually impious families or impious places is equal to sinful activities. In the sense where there are a lot of sinful activities are being performed, those places are considered as impious. And here it is explained that the Vaishnavas, apane saman means Lord Vishnu considers Vaishnavas almost as equal to them. Now how do you understand this? That the devotees of the Lord are equal to that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is very clearly mentioned over here. So the scriptures, they glorify Vaishnavas like this, that whenever a Vaishnava appears in a family, all his family, his mother, his birthplace, his residence, they become purified. And his forefathers in the heaven, they dance in ecstasy. Because they understand now he will deliver their entire dynasty. So Vaishnava has got that potency that he can purify his family, his birthplace, his residence, everywhere. So here, Apanasaman means Vaishnavas are actually considered as the spiritual masters of all over the world, entire world. So are they inconceivably one and different from Krishna in the sense they have a lot of potency of purifying as that of Supreme Lord. At the same time, all the Vaishnavas consider themselves that they are the servants. They never claim, even though they have so much of potency as equal to the Supreme Lord. So Vaishnavas represents the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. And Vishnu uses Vaishnavas to deliver all conditioned souls. So in the Hari-bhakti Vilas it is mentioned that if a person takes initiation, as in India there are so many Kula Gurus and so many people in that region who are considered as the spiritual masters, and people take initiations from him. But Shastra clearly defines, if a guru is a non-devotee and is addicted to the sense gratification, then the followers will glide down to the hell. So it is required that such a person must immediately approach a genuine Vaishnava Guru and accept mantra from him. So even if people feel that, oh, we have taken Diksha from such and such person, but Shastra clearly gives the guidelines that only if he is coming in bona fide parampara, then only such Guru will be helpful to you and he can deliver you. But any Guru who is a non-devotee and is addicted to the sense gratification, such Guru will not be able to give you any help. Rather, that Guru will also go to hell and you will also go to the hell. So that is why the Vaishnavas are considered as very important. So Lord Krishna wanted to teach that we have to go beyond this so-called conceptions that we have, that these are the dynasties are very high-class dynasties, these are low-caste dynasties, these are the very good places, these are not so good places. But what we have to say is that pure Vaishnavas, they act as the acharyas. And any other person who is a conditioned soul, he will be suffering from his karma. But the Vaishnavas, they are the transcendental worshippers of Lord Vishnu. They have conquered the illusionary energy of the Lord Vishnu, and therefore Lord says here that they are as good as me. So Vaishnavas are liberated soul, they are situated in pure mode of goodness, and they are capable of protecting conditioned souls. So what happens to conditioned souls? The conditioned souls gets bewildered by the covering potency and throwing potency of the Maya. And that is why Vaishnavas instruct all the living entities that they should follow the path of sadhana bhakti. And what happens is, the people who are Vaishnavas, they worship Vishnu, and apart from that, all other people, they will be worshipping or serving the Maya. And they consider the temporary material objects as the important. And then what happens is, this section of people who are not guided by Vaishnavas, then they accept the doctrine of impersonalism, or they fall in the path of atheism or godless civilizations. And that is why Vaishnavas are very important. And then further it is stated that especially Lord Nityananda Prabhu appeared in the place called Radhadesh, which was far away from Mother Ganges. The Mother Ganges is coming from the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And that's why wherever Mother Ganges flows, it will purify that place. At the same time, those people who are staying around it. And as people go away from the bank of Ganges, then those people are considered as not so fortunate. And that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to impress that actually if a Vaishnava appears, that place becomes auspicious. So it is stated that yes sthane Vaishnavgan karena vijay, sei sthan hoya ati punya tirthamaya. That means wherever the Vaishnavas go, that place becomes a sanctified place of pilgrimage. That means it becomes the Tirtha Kshetra. So actually out of humility, Vaishnavas consider themselves that they are very impure. And Vaishnavas visit holy places with the intention of getting themselves purified by bathing the celestial water of Mother Ganges. But actually Vaishnava has a potency to even purify the holy places. And that's why Maharaj Yudhishthira has mentioned it to Vidura in first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where he says Tirtha Kurvanti Tirthani, where that means that Maharaj Yudhishthira was addressing Vidura and he was praising Vidura that the devotees like yourselves, they are actually holy place personified because you carry Krishna always within your heart. And you, wherever you visit, you turn that place into the holy pilgrimage. So, actually, when the enjoying tendency is absent, that person becomes sadhu. So, actually, the places where such a pure Vaishnavas stay, they are more important than the ordinary holy places as well. And that is why there is a great Vaishnava poet, Devakinandan. He, in his beautiful song, has mentioned the potency of the Vaishnavas. So, Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dhare 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 Jane Jane. That means each devotee of Lord Chaitanya has got such a potency that he can deliver the entire universe. So this is the great potency of the Vaishnavas, and that is why we find the places where our acharyas have stayed, that places become place of pilgrimage. And that's why we see that wherever Prabhupada has stayed in the West or in India is to be considered as a sacred place where we have his memorials and we understand that these are the places where the pure devotees of the Lord stayed. And that's why we have seen his Guru Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Wherever his ashrams are there, wherever his birthplace is there, all those things are still preserved. At the same time, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, where he stayed in Bhakti Bhavan, recently ISKCON has acquired that and renovated that place, is because wherever Vaishnavas have stayed, that place becomes a place of pilgrimage. And then what happened is, the society at that time were having so-called conceptions of dharma and so-called conceptions of rules and regulations. And they were totally misguided. And because of that, what they were doing is, the dhana nashta kare putra kanyar vibhay, yehi mata jagatera vyartha kalayay. That means people squandered all their money on the marriages of their sons and daughters. And in this way, they wasted their human lives. So what happened is the society was considering that family life is the goal of everything. And then they spend large sums of money in the marriages of their sons and daughters. Because if they consider the goal of life is to have a family, and the responsibility of grasthas is to get their children married. So with a great spending great amount in a great pomp, they used to celebrate their marriages, and then they considered that all their duties of grastha life are now successful. But then what happens is so that was their conception, that instead of worshipping the Supreme Lord, they were considering taking care of their mundane affairs is important, and that's how they wasted their time. So even though there were so-called scholars called Bhattacharya, Chakravartis, Mishras, but they did not know the real purport of the scriptures. So Bhattacharyas are usually expert in teaching. The Chakravartis are expert in performance of rituals, and Mishras are scholars. But then what happens is, they were not able to understand the real purport of the Shastras and the essence of the Vedas. Because purport of the Shastras is to know Lord Vishnu, understand Bhakti is the topmost, and all of us have to perform Bhakti for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. And then amongst that society, whoever the most pious, while taking bath, they would chant the name of Pundarikaksha and Govinda. Because it's a social custom that when you are taking bath, if that water is sanctified, your sins will be washed away. So it is mentioned, otherwise people even by mistake would not take Lord Vishnu's name. Such was the condition at that time. And then what happened is this so-called Pandits, they started saying like, no, the Vishnu's name cannot be chanted by unqualified people. It cannot be chanted at improper timings. So these were the so-called followers of Vedas. They concocted these things. But whereas we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he gave us Shikshashtakam in that verse of Namna Makari verse. He mentions it that living entity can take the holy name at any time, any place, without considering any auspicious, inauspicious. All the time one has to chant the holy name. So this knowledge was not lacking. And that's how first all these intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared before the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Upendra Mishra had 3 sons. Upendra Mishra had 7 sons. His third son was called Jagannath Mishra. So Jagannath Mishra appears, and after that Nityanand Prabhu appears, then Advaita Acharya comes, then Haridas Thakur appears, Madhavendra Puri comes, Srivas Pandit, Murari Gupta, Vasudha Dev, and then Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So there are so many lords associate, they appear. And in Navadip also, the Srivas Thakur, that's his brother Sri Ram, Srinidhi, Sripati, all of them they used to live in Srivas Angan. And Murari Gupta, Chandrasekhar, all these Srivas Pandit along with his brothers used to go to Advaita Acharya's house. And this would spend there several hours because all the materialistic people used to condemn the Vaishnavas. And there, all of them, they would sit, and only great pain that they would have in their heart is how these people in the society, because of lack of knowledge of bhakti, are simply wasting their time, and they will never become happy trying to be enjoying the material opulence. And that is why especially Advaita Acharya and Haridas Thakur. Now Advaita Acharya appeared in a very high class Brahmin family, and Haridas Thakur appeared in untouchable family. But both of them used to very sincerely pray. Advaita Acharya would sit on the bank of river Ganga and he would worship his Shaligram Shila, offering the Ganges water and Tulsi, and pray that only if you come, that Supreme Lord Krishna, if you come, then only there is a chance that these people will be delivered. And that is why we have seen that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears responding to the prayers of Advaita Acharya. Later also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned this at many times. Advaita Karane Chaitanya Avatar. Say Prabhu Kaiyachen Bar Bar. That means so many times Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that actually to fulfill the desire of Advaita Acharya, I descended to this world. And then we see when Srila Prabhupada, he was traveling to the west, and he was on that cargo ship Jaldut. He was praying to Lord Krishna in similar mode, in the way Advaita Acharya Haridas Thakur would pray to the Supreme Lord. So that time Srila Prabhupada didn't have any Ganges water, he didn't have any Tulsi, because he was on the Atlantic Ocean. But he was praying that the people in these countries where I'm going, they are in mode of passion and ignorance. And they are so enthusiastic to make their material life better. And because of that, they are getting implicated and bound by the law of karma. And all of them, they have forgotten the real treasure of life. And then Prabhupada was praying that only through your words, only through your grace, and only through your mercy of Krishna can these people be delivered. And that's how Sri Prabhupada was very sincerely praying in Jaladuta. So he had that same compassion of a Vaishnavas, same compassion of Acharyas, as he was, as Prabhupada had that great desire that each and every soul who is rotting in this material world should be delivered. When Srila Prabhupada disciples, they took him to the Washington, and that was in 4th July. That's where the America celebrates its bicentennials. And so that time the bicentennial celebrations were going on. All the Americans were coming to that Washington Square park, and most of the people, they were coming in the enjoying mood. And then devotees also took Srila Prabhupada to that place. So many devotees were there, and Srila Prabhupada was there. And as Srila Prabhupada was saying that how they were celebrating their festival, and then Srila Prabhupada told all the devotees, now all of you should start chanting. So devotees opened the windows and the doors of their vans and started chanting. And naturally all the people surrounding there, they also started chanting. And then there was one couple that they were having their beer cans in their hand. They were not properly dressed also. They also started dancing and singing along with the devotees. And as soon as Prabhupada saw that, he said, now their spiritual life has begun. So Sri Prabhupada went to such kinds of places, and then he had such a compassion that let these people somehow or other get in connection with the devotees and hear the holy name, start reciting the holy name, and their spiritual life will begin. And that's how, like, Sri Prabhupada had one disciple named Rameshwar Prabhu, was one of his prominent disciples. And he was talking about Srila Prabhupada's memories. In that he mentioned it, that Srila Prabhupada incessantly was focused on saving every soul. So he would talk to Rameshwar Prabhu that sometimes he would talk and sometimes he would write a letter to him that some devotees who were practicing devotional service, but somehow or other they were not so active. So Prabhupada would instruct him that I want that you go and get all of them back. I don't want to leave any one of them. I love them so much. They are my sons and daughters. So Prabhupada's vision was like that, to bring each and every soul back to Krishna. And that was his mood. And this is the similar mood that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has, this is similar mood that Lord Nityananda Prabhu has. And that's how we have been fortunate enough that we are able to celebrate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthday celebrations. We are able to celebrate the appearance of Nityananda Prabhu. So in this Navadip Dham, the Jagannath Mishra has been described that he had all the good qualities of Kashyapa, Dashrath, Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj. All their qualities were found in the Jagannath Mishra. And Jagannath Mishra had 8 daughters, and all of them disappeared. And then most fortunate Vishwarup appeared as his son. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to descend, Sri Ananta, he loudly chanted, and Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata also heard that. But they thought that as if it was a dream. And that's the time Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, they understood that the time has come now for Lord Chaitanya to descend. So they also appeared and start offering prayers to Jagannath Mishra and Sachidevi. And this particular day, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, that time there was a lunar eclipse. Today also in some part of the world we can see the lunar eclipse. So when full moon was covered by Rahu, and that's how actually the ocean of holy name manifested. And everywhere in the 14 words, it was filled with the sound of Harinam. So actually, what happens is, even though people may not follow the bona fide path of spiritualism, but most of the people in the society have got some fear. And that is why there is belief that the eclipse are inauspicious. And that's how, to counteract the bad effects of eclipse, the people go to Ganga and then they chant the holy name of the Lord. And even though some people were atheistic, they were materialistic, but they, out of social custom, were forced to chant. And as Hindus were chanting in the Muslims also, while mocking them, they also started chanting Hari Hari. So Royal Rahu eclipsed the moon, thinking that why do you need this moon when the golden moon, which is spotless, is appearing? And as the Lord appears in the midst of Harinam Sankirtan, and that's how Rupa Goswami has mentioned that this particular way that Harinam comes is Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Parima Pradayate. That means this merciful incarnation is such that all other incarnations usually carry some weapons to destroy the demon, whereas in this avatar, the weapon that Lord Chaitanya carries is Harinam Sankirtan. And that's how he transforms all the demons on the path of devotional service. And as Lord appears with his divine beauty. And it is mentioned that how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's broad chest was smeared with a bright sandalwood pulp. He was decorated with vanamala, that is flower garland. And his sweet face was as soothing as full moon. And Ajanubahu Vishal, in the sense, his long arms stretched to these knees. And there is a custom that as soon as the child takes birth, the parents, they approach the astrologer and they want to know what will be the future of our child. So similarly, one very famous astrologer came at the house of Jagannath Mishra, and as he was calculating the horoscope, he mentioned, Vipra bole ye Shishu Sakshat Narayan, Yahete Sarvadharma Hevestapan. That means this child is not different from Narayan, and he will re-establish all the religious principles. And then he's saying, just by seeing him, people of this world will develop love for him, they will develop compassion for other living entities, and then they will also develop detachment from material enjoyment. Because it's Supreme Lord, as soon as we have the divine darshan of Supreme Lord, naturally we develop attraction towards him. And as we get the love of Godhead, all the devotees would like to distribute it to other living entities. So that's how they become compassionate to other living entities. And naturally, there is a detachment from the material enjoyment. So as he started predicting, he said, what to speak of others, even Yavanas who are averse to worship of Lord Vishnu will also worship the lotus feet of this child. And then he said that actually I am so fortunate that I got this fortune of calculating his horoscope. And then he says the child will be maintaining of the universe, so he will be called as Vishwambar. So Lord Nityananda Prabhu appeared in Trayodashi in the month of Magh, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears on the Purnima in the month of Falgun. So it is considered like as the appearance of Lord is pure, the appearance days of Lord's devotees are also pure. And one must therefore hold festivals on those days. And that's why here that we celebrate the appearances of the Supreme Lord, at the same time appearance and disappearance of the great Vaishnavas as well. So those times there were astrologers who could accurately predict the future. Srila Prabhupada narrated one experience he had with the astrologer to his devotees. So he was saying that actually Bhruga Samhita, they can speak of the past of the person, present of the person, and the future of the person. Then he said, as per my horoscope, at the age of 70, I will open many temples, and maximum limit is 80. Now I am staying more than 80, that's a special arrangement of Lord Krishna. Then he said that I had a friend called Dr. Karthik Bose. His son was staying in Germany, and he went to astrologer to find out when his son will come back home. So astrologer told him that your son will not come back, he will go to the hill station. And then within few days, Dr. Karthik Bose receives a letter from his son saying that I got tuberculosis, I'm going to stay in Switzerland to recuperate. Then Prabhupada was saying that this is how there were qualified people in the past who could predict these things. So as Lord resided in the house of Jagannath Mishra, he secretly performed the pastimes similar to that of Gopal Krishna. So he was given the name Vishwambar by the scholars, and the chaste ladies in Navadip, they used to call him as a Nimai, that was his secondary name. And all his name giving ceremony was going on. All the Brahmanas were reciting Bhagavad Gita, shlokas from Srimad Bhagavatam and from different Vedas. And after that, as Lord Krishna performed his pastimes in Vrindavan, similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Nimai would perform his pastimes in Navadip when he was just 4 months of old. And when he would not get attention from his parents, then he would get up and then break up all the pots in the house, and he would throw all the ingredients here and there. And as he would see that his parents are coming, he would go back and sleep on the bed. And when his parents, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi, would see, they would say, it's a just 4 months old child. How can he do such a destruction in a home? And they would get bewildered. Then other neighbors would come and say that actually demon must have attacked it, but because your child is protected by the mantras, he could not do any harm to your child, and that is why he did some mischief and went away. And then sometimes Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi would hear the sound of ankle bells, nupur, but they saw there is no nupurs on our child's ankles. At the same time, they would see footprints all over the house, and all the footprints were marked with auspicious signs. So they would get bewildered, thinking that Lord must be wandering in our house. So Jagannath Mishra told Sachi Devi that today we will offer a special sweet rice to our Shaligram because our house, we see the divine music, we see the beautiful lotus footprints. So we say that the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears along with Panchatattva. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Bhakta Rupa, Nityananda Prabhu is Bhakta Swarupa, Advaita Acharya is Bhakta Avatar, and Gadadhar Pandit is Bhakti Shakti, and Srivas is Bhakta Rupa. And then we find especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this yuga, that all other yugas, the demons, they don't accept any advice given by the Supreme Lord, and that's why they're killed. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that demons and yavanas who did not accept my mercy, they will take my name and they will cry. So all the Adhama people, Asprishya, Drushta, Yavana, Chandal, all of them will get Bhakti Yoga. So we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in different in his pastimes, actually he expressed his opulence of Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because of the Yogamaya potency, all his parents, his relatives and people of Navadip could not understand that. Once one pilgrim came to Navadip, and this pilgrim, this sadhu, Brahmana, would always carry Gopal deities with him. And he would be constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord. And he would himself cook and offer food to the deities. So as he came, and as it was a tradition, that whoever would come would be accepted very respectfully. As per the tradition, the Atithi is considered as good as the Supreme Lord, and he has to be cared properly. And those days, Atithi would also come, stay for a day, and leave next day. So that's a culture is still left in some parts of India, where the Atithis are properly cared for and they are given all the ingredients that they need. And then Jagannath Mishra received him well and arranged for a place where he can cook. So all that chula was covered with fresh cow dung, and all the fresh ingredients were given for him to cook. So Brahmana also started cooking with great devotion, and as this bhoga was ready, he started offering with the Gopal mantra to his beloved deities. And as soon as he started chanting Gopal mantra, Nimai came there, and then he took rice in his hand and started eating. And Brahmana saw that before my offering is complete, the child started eating, so he has contaminated the offering, and he started crying with the pain that my offering is spoiled. And as Jagannath Mishra immediately comes there and starts chastising Nimai, he takes a stick in his hand and starts running after him. And Brahmana stops him, saying that he is a child, he doesn't understand what is the difference between right and wrong. You can punish a person who can understand the difference, but if a person doesn't understand the difference, if you punish, what will be the gain? He will do the same thing again. And who is the gentleman who punishes a small child? And then he said that it's my destination. Actually, it's my destiny that I shouldn't be eating today. And that's why I will fast today. And then for a host to see that very exalted guest has come to your house and he is not able to eat is a great pain to their heart. So somehow or other Jagannath Mishra hung his head, and then he requested that if you consider me as your servant, then kindly cook again and offer it to your beloved deities. We can't see that you are simply eating roots and fruits and sleeping in our house. So then, as all the members of the family of Jagannath Mishra request him, and again that place is purified, he starts his cooking. And they keep the Nimai outside. And actually Nimai tells all the family members and others that actually I am cowherd boys, and cowherd boys always eat food cooked by the Brahmanas. So what mistake I have done? But during this second attempt also, again Nimai mysteriously appears there and starts eating the bhoga. The Brahmana again becomes disturbed, and the Jagannath Mishra comes there and he starts just chasing Nimai. Nimai simply runs away to some other house. And as Jagannath Mishra was chasing him, all the people come and says that, Nick, actually you are a learned Pandita, and how can you take a stick and beat such a small child? And then there is a lot of discussion that happens between the Brahmana and the Jagannath Mishra and Sachidevi. And that's time the Vishwarup comes. Now Vishwarup is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he was also very, very attractive. As soon as Brahmana sees Vishwarup, all the distress in his heart vanishes. And the whole family makes a request. And then somehow or other, he starts cooking again. So this was his third attempt. So as he starts cooking, then Nimai was locked in another room. But then what happens is the cooking is ready. It was very late night. And Nidra Devi, by her influences, puts everyone to the rest. Only Brahmana was awake. And as he started offering, again, Nimai starts eating. And that time, the Brahmana becomes surprised, and Nimai explains that actually you call me with love. I came and ate. And then Nimai reveals his divine form. So actually it's a 8-arm form, the 4-arm, it's the Lord Vishnu's form with 4 hands, and then 2 forms of, and then Krishna's form with 2 hands. His one hand he had a butter pot and he was eating butter. Another hand he was having flute and he was playing that flute. So as Brahmana was watching this beautiful darshan of Vishnu and Krishna, at the same time he could get the vision of Vrindavan, he could get the vision of Yamuna, Govardhan, all the Gopas and Gopis, and Brahmana faints in ecstasy. So Lord gives him a message that actually birth after birth you are my devotee. And then he reminds that in your previous life also you were resident of Gokul and you had come to our house in the Maharaj's place. And then I have appeared here to spread the mission to Harinam Sankirtan. So now you can stay in Navadip, but do not reveal my identity. If you reveal my identity, then I will destroy you. And then Brahmana becomes very ecstatic, and then he starts smearing the rice which was eaten by Nitai all over his body. And as he was in ecstasy, all other members of the family, they woke up. And then he conceals all his happiness. He stays in Navadip and then silently start relishing the pastime of Nimai. So what we see from this pastime is that whenever devotees make offering with love and devotion, Lord Krishna accepts those offerings. And whenever there is a pure devotion, Lord cannot stop himself. Immediately he will become irresistibly attracted to that place and that person. And Krishna will always reveal to his all sincere devotees. So what we have to understand is like that whenever we are offering any bhoga to the Supreme Lord, whether in the temple or in our home, we shouldn't be doing it, that ritual, just like a mechanically. But if you call the Supreme Lord with love, then definitely Supreme Lord will accept such an offering made with love and devotion. At the same time, we see this Brahmana was making an attempt to offer to his Gopal deity, and repeatedly twice his offering failed, his attempts failed. So usually what happens is, whatever services that we are doing it, and if we meet with failure, then we become disappointed, and many times we lose enthusiasm and give up that service. But here we see that even if the Brahmana's plans failed, he still continued to keep on offering. So we have to see, even if our plan fails, our service may become interrupted for some reason or other, or circumstances also become unfavorable, but do we get disturbed because of that? Here we can see that Brahmana was thinking that if I am not destined to eat, it's just my destiny. And he gave the reason that a person may have got a lot of wealth. A wealthy person can have lots of foodstuffs in his home. But then what happens is that the person may be a prince and he may be having so many delicious food to eat. But if he becomes angry, then in that anger he rejects all the foodstuffs. So that means even though all the foodstuffs are right there in front of him, he will not be able to enjoy that. And sometimes we become sick, we have a high fever. Then when if all the Chappam Bhog is right there in our front of us, we will not be able to relish that. So whatever we eat is been written in our destiny, and only we will get that. No matter what you try, you may not get it. And even if the circumstances are very difficult, impossible circumstances, but if there is a destiny written that you will get food, you will get that food. Once I met some sadhus in Himalayas, and they were describing their one incident. Now if you see, if you travel in that Himalayan forest, and even if you have like golden ornaments with you, or you may have your ATM cards or a lot of money with you, but there is no shop where you can go and buy. So money is useless in the forest if you go, and if there is no forest food available, then you can't eat it. So two sadhus were walking, and they were so tired and hungry, and they come to at one place and they were taking rest, and their stomach was aching with pain, but there was nothing available there to eat. And after some time they saw that two another people, they with a great efforts, they also came to that place, and they were also absolutely tired. But those people had some raw ingredients with them. And they said like, we are so tired, even though we have ingredients, but we have absolutely no strength to cook. And these two sadhus said, okay, we have a strength to cook, but we don't have ingredients. So two people who had ingredients met with those two people who had strength to cook, and eventually four of them could eat. Even in the dense forest in Himalayas, where miles and miles there is nothing available for you to eat. So this is how the destiny plays a great role, and we have to humbly accept the destiny. At the same time, we have to have a firm faith that that if you call the Supreme Lord with love, Supreme Lord will come, because it's a promise of Supreme Lord. If you call me with love, I will always come there. So these are the ways, like we can see there are so many parallels of Lord Krishna as he performed different pastimes in Vrindavan, similar kind of pastimes he performed here. And even though his opulence of the Supreme Lord was visible through so many different pastimes, the people could not understand that he is the Supreme Lord. So what we have to understand that what this Gaur Purnima festival actually really means to all of us is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us to chant the holy name with love. And then if we have to chant the holy name with pure love, we have to serve other devotees with great humility and respect. And when you serve the devotees with humility and respect, we'll be able to chant the holy name of the Lord, purpose for which the Supreme Lord descended. So all of us can make a vow today that I will try to chant sincerely, as we always are chanting the holy name of the Lord for so many years. But always we can make an attempt to chant with more and more sincerity. We're trying to serve with humility and respect to other devotees. Then we will be able to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna. So are there any questions or comments from anyone? So we'll end here. Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki.
Krishna.
1 Kings 18 verse 1 to 9. 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 1 Kings 18